So now we're going to transition to part two, and that is going from the first 25,000 to now we want to get to the first milestone of $100,000 in revenue. What were some of the things that happened during that phase? Talk to me about how the product was made. Talk to me about marketing and customer acquisition and some of these things.
Yeah. In the early days, getting $25,000 in revenue was enough for me and Jahan as founders to work a night shift mixing protein powders and then selling them online. That becomes a little bit less sustainable when you're trying to reach your $100,000 mark. So what we did is we actually found a production facility that was flexible enough for our needs. We found a small staff of folks who we could then train up in helping us create the personalized protein blends. And we also found a 3PL, a warehouse, a third-party logistics provider that would help us ship it out so that we weren't there taping boxes in our apartment every single day. Yeah. That, I think, is a pretty crucial inflection point for a lot of CPG brands to go from kitchen top, bench top, friends and family, small sales, most people know each other who are buying the product, to having a distribution network, albeit very small, a warehouse, a production facility, a small staff to help create these products and ship them out so that me and Jahan could focus more on the tech, the branding, the product innovation, the packaging, the customer research, and less time on strictly mixing up protein and packing up boxes.
And that's a mistake that I see a lot of founders make is in the beginning, they're deep, they're elbow deep, knee deep, whatever phrase you'd like to use, in what I call doing the do, delivering product, delivering the service. And then they struggle to make that transition to be like, well, I really shouldn't be doing that stuff anymore because it's not the highest and best use of my time. So with respect to the contract manufacturer, I don't want to spend too long on this, but I know when in our pre-interview, we talked a little bit about this. I was stumped by, hey, you're this personalized supplement brand. How does that scale? Like, I mean, you know, if you're making a custom concoction for every single individual customer, at some point, that's just not going to work. So explain a little bit about how you managed to make that scalable. And the reason I'm going down this rabbit hole is there might be some folks listening who are trying to think of personalizing whatever it is. Yeah. I'm hoping there's going to be some takeaways for them here.
Totally. And that's actually the unique, I guess you'd call it secret sauce of how we built Gainful as well. As you said, doing the do is doing things that don't scale, is not building a business that can be $20 million, $50 million, $1 billion on day one, but instead figuring out really what's important to the business and what people want by doing it at a small scale, talking to people, mixing up batches by hand. And we did that for the better part of 2 years, honestly, where we were mixing up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of protein powder blends by hand, made to order for customers so that we could see, one, how they would convert if we showed them certain ingredients. Two, how they would retain if we gave them certain ingredients in their order. Three, how they like the tastes, just basic stuff like whether or not it actually tasted good to people, whether they wanted the sweetness higher, the flavoring lower, et cetera, et cetera. And we did all of that manually. So we had our own, production facility where we had a staff that we would train to create these blends by hand to order. And after doing that for a couple of years, you start to see trends and you notice what pops up most often as something that people convert highest on, retain highest on, love the taste of, and of course, most importantly, report that actually works. And so we use that data to figure out a set number of blends that we could then scale up with a contract manufacturer. And it wasn't like flipping a light switch ever. We had to, over the course of many years, transition certain of our SKUs, certain of our units, our products, our formulations, our blends over to a contract manufacturer, which was a labor of love because if you're making just one product, it's pretty easy to go out and buy 100,000 units of it with a contract manufacturer and say, we'll figure out how to market this later. But we were truly waiting until we had a tipping point, a critical mass of a certain amount of demand for our product before we could then go to a contract manufacturer with it, which meant that we had to build very deep, very trusting relationships with our contract manufacturers, as well as do a ton of research and legwork up front. And this kind of iterative approach to product development was definitely the key to our success in launching protein powder in those days.